Nobody is paying $767 a month for a car payment and still getting charged extra to turn on their heated seats. That's not a hypothetical. BMW, General Motors, Toyota, they're all doing it right now. Features physically built into the hardware you already bought, locked behind a monthly subscription. And that's just the part they're advertising openly. What they're not telling you is worth a lot more money than the seat warmer. The average new car payment in America right now is $767 a month. That's before insurance, before registration, before the $10 monthly fee to remotely start an engine sitting in your own driveway. Automakers discovered that software subscriptions are pure profit, and your new vehicle is the delivery mechanism. People are financing cars for 7 and 8 years now just to keep the monthly number from looking manageable, which means millions of drivers will still be paying for a vehicle that's worth almost nothing before they ever own it outright. The math on new cars has never been worse, and the people selling them are counting on you not running it. Most people never do. An older, paid-off car flips that entire equation. You stop renting your transportation and start owning it. And the moment that payment disappears, your financial life gets quieter in ways that are hard to describe until you have felt it. No lender, no due date, no phone call if you have a slow month, no payment that follows you into a hard season, just a car that belongs to you completely with no conditions attached. Insurance companies know something most buyers do not, and they are not going to volunteer it. Once a car's value drops below a certain threshold, full coverage stops making mathematical sense. You can drop comprehensive, drop collision, carry liability only, and save several $100s a year depending on your state and driving record. A new car locks you into full coverage because the lender requires it as a condition of the loan. The moment you own your vehicle outright, that decision belongs to you. That is not a loophole. That is just how the math works when nobody owns a claim on your vehicle but you. And for a lot of people, that one change alone covers the cost of whatever repair comes up that year. The savings are real and they are immediate. And this is the part the dealerships are actively spending money to keep you from knowing. Modern vehicles are increasingly sealed against independent mechanics. Several major manufacturers have spent millions of dollars lobbying against right to repair legislation at the state and federal level, specifically to ensure that reading diagnostic codes, updating software, and replacing certain components requires proprietary dealer tools that independent shops simply cannot access. Your only option becomes the dealership service bay, where labor rates routinely run between $150 and $200 an hour. A job that takes a good independent mechanic 45 minutes gets billed as a 2-hour minimum at the dealer. Depending on the manufacturer, cars built somewhere between 2010 and 2015 operate in a completely different world. Any competent independent shop can work on them. The parts ecosystem is open, and if you have any mechanical inclination at all, you can handle a significant portion of maintenance yourself with tools from a hardware store and a free video. Parts availability is the piece almost nobody thinks about when they are choosing between old and new, and it is one of the most important factors in what a car actually costs to own over time. There is a window, roughly 15 to 20 years after a model's production run, where availability hits its peak. The original manufacturer is still producing some components. Aftermarket suppliers have had enough time to reverse engineer and mass produce quality alternatives at a fraction of dealer prices. The country's junkyards are fully stocked with donor vehicles, and because demand is high and supply is competitive, prices stay honest. A 2008 Honda Accord is easier and cheaper to source parts for today than it was 10 years ago. That counterintuitive fact has hundreds of dollars attached to it every single time something needs fixing. Most new car buyers never think about this until they are 3 years into ownership and staring at a parts estimate. Here's the one that genuinely surprises people. Your old car has already been recalled. Every significant defect it was going to develop has either surfaced in owner forums, triggered a federal safety investigation, or been addressed through a manufacturer service bulletin. The engines that were going to burn oil announced themselves years ago. The transmissions that were going to slip already have thousands of documented cases with known fixes and established repair costs. Nothing about a well-researched older vehicle is a mystery. You are not a beta tester. You are buying a vehicle with a public record stretching back years, and that record tells you almost everything you need to know before you hand over a single dollar. New cars do not have that. New cars have marketing materials and optimistic warranty language, and a few months of real-world data from early buyers who are essentially running your quality control for free. The people driving them are stress testing systems that engineers ran through simulations, but the road has not validated yet. Sometimes that works out fine. Sometimes it costs the first wave of owners years of dealer visits and goodwill repairs that eat through the warranty before anything gets permanently resolved. The advantage belongs to the older car that was maintained, the one with receipts, the one owned by someone who treated it like infrastructure rather than identity. Those cars exist in every market in the country, and because most buyers are chasing new or near new, competition for a well-kept 10-year-old vehicle is surprisingly thin. The person who knows what they are looking for has an enormous edge over everyone else shopping in that same market. A paid-off, well-maintained older vehicle does not just reduce your expenses, it removes an entire category of financial fragility from your life. When a job gets shaky, when a medical bill arrives, when something unexpected hits, your transportation is not part of the crisis. You do not have to choose between a car payment and a rent payment. You do not have to make a phone call to a lender explaining your situation. That decision has already been made permanently in your favor. That is not a frugality hack. That is not a sacrifice. That is how you build a financial life that does not collapse the first time something goes wrong. And if this kind of thinking is useful to you, there is more where this came from. Stick around.